For the Funds of Knowledge assignment, I chose to interview Melissa. She is a 16-year educator. She is currently working as a curriculum administrator, but before that, for many years, she was a newcomer teacher. So I chose Melissa because I believe out of everyone that I know, I think she has the most experience and knowledge behind Mexican Americans, Mexicans, and I felt like she was the best person to interview. Um, so Melissa grew up in two different socioeconomic areas. During the week up, Melissa grew up in a middle class neighborhood with her mom, her dad, her siblings. They were the type of family that would have 20 family members over for dinner every night, and dinner was a big deal. On the weekends and during the summer, Melissa would spend her time in the Wasco migrant camp with her grandmother and extended family. Um, when Melissa's dad was younger, he worked in the fields along with her mother, and her father got hurt. So during that time, he decided he didn't want to spend the rest of his life working in the fields. So he went back to school to pursue a higher education, and so did her mom. They both became teachers, and they instilled in all of their children to pursue higher education as well. So Melissa is a 16-year educator. And like I said, she worked with newcomer students. So Melissa has a lot of knowledge. Um, she works with newcomers who are students who come from Mexico or anywhere outside of the US. So Melissa teaches them or would teach them how to read, write, and speak in English. Along And she did very well in that area because I observed her many times, and she would also talk to them in Spanish, write in Spanish along with English, and that's kind of one of the ways that they learned how to speak and write and um yeah, speak and write in Spanish. So one thing about Melissa is when one year I had a student that came from Guatemala, and they came here with nothing, her family. So when Melissa found out that they were struggling, she let me know, and I gave her some money. Another teacher gave her money, and she put in her own money and she went shopping for that family, um, to get them clothes and food. And if she knows her students are struggling, she will do her best to get them a voucher to get them clothes and food. And if they don't have a car, trust me, she will be the person driving them. Um, she is full of compassion, and that is one thing that I took from our interview. One thing that she did say was a quote, "Remember who you are." So that quote, when she was younger, she thought that her dad and her grandmother were pretty much telling her that, like, meaning respect your family, be respectful. Um, but as she got older, she realized that's not what it meant at all. She realized what they were trying to do was they were trying to teach her, um, or instill in her a few things. She had realized that her family were trying to instill values, and they were trying to shape her identity. So, as an educator, she now uses that quote to remind her to lead with integrity, humility, and compassion, which she does very much so. Um, Another story that Melissa had told me was when she was younger, she was spending time with her grandmother, and she really wanted furniture for her Barbie. Well, her grandma just didn't have money, so instead, her grandma sat on the floor with her and helped her make furniture using cardboard, fabric, glue. and string. And so they worked together on it, and she was pretty satisfied with what they came up with. And because of that, she uses that as a lesson that you don't need money. Um, you can use your creativity. So she now instills that in her students. And we work in Title I schools, so we don't have money just to spend. We have to use our own money. So instead of just going out and spending a bunch of money, she has learned to use um, things lying around the house, like um, shoe boxes to teach students heat conduction with for science. So she uses a lot of that knowledge that she learned growing up and that those lessons in her, she did use them in her own classroom. And that was one thing I was surprised by our interview was yes, she's been teaching for quite a few years, a long time now, but a lot of the questions I asked her were just regular open-ended questions, and she was able to answer those using um a lot of the stuff that we have learned in our master's program. I'm sure she has her master's as well, but I don't think she went through the same master program I did. Um, so it was kind of cool to see her bring up a lot of the stuff that we've been learning.